You have been asking the wrong question. For months, maybe years, you have been asking, why does this keep happening to me? Why do toxic people always find me? Why am I the one who ends up in these relationships over and over again? And every answer you have found has made you feel worse. Too trusting. Too sensitive. Too naive. Too broken in some way that attracts broken people. Here is what Marcus Aurelius discovered about toxic relationships 2,000 years ago, and what modern psychology has only recently confirmed. Toxic people do not choose you because you are weak. They choose you because you have something they cannot build in themselves. In the next 25 minutes, I am going to show you exactly what that is, what they see in you that you cannot see in yourself, why it makes you a target, and the complete Stoic system for keeping what makes you valuable while removing what makes you vulnerable. Because the goal is not to become someone toxic people do not want. The goal is to become someone toxic people cannot touch. Welcome to Memento Sapiens, ancient wisdom for the modern mind. Today we explore the question that sits beneath every toxic relationship you have ever had. Not what is wrong with them. You already know that answer. The deeper question, why you? Why specifically you? Marcus Aurelius spent decades surrounded by toxic people at the highest levels of power and developed a precise psychological framework for understanding exactly what they were seeking and why. This is the Stoic psychology of being chosen. What it reveals about you and about them will permanently change how you see every difficult relationship in your life. Part 1. What toxic people actually see in you and why it is not what you think. Most explanations for why toxic people target specific people focus on vulnerability, low self-esteem, childhood wounds, fear of abandonment, people-pleasing tendencies. These explanations are not wrong, but they are incomplete. Because they describe the door the toxic person enters through, not why they wanted to enter in the first place. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." He was observing something precise. People with genuine character, genuine warmth, genuine integrity, genuine capacity for loyalty and depth stand out in a world where those qualities are rare. And toxic people can sense that from across a room. Here is what they actually see in you. They see your empathy. Your ability to feel what others feel, to absorb their pain, to want to fix their suffering, to stay when others leave because you genuinely cannot turn away from someone in need. To a toxic person, this is not a quality to respect. It is a resource to harvest. They see your loyalty. Your tendency to stay committed past the point where the evidence suggests you should leave. Your belief that if you love enough, try hard enough, are patient enough, the relationship can be saved. To a toxic person, this is not admirable. It is a guarantee that they can behave badly and you will not leave. They see your guilt sensitivity. Your tendency to take responsibility, sometimes even for things that are not your fault, because the discomfort of conflict feels worse than accepting blame. To a toxic person, this is not conscientiousness. It is a lever. They see your potential, your intelligence, your capability, your vision for what could be. Toxic people are often deeply aware of their own limitations. Being near someone with genuine potential makes them feel elevated while simultaneously needing to keep that person small enough that the gap does not become threatening. Marcus Aurelius recognized all four of these qualities in himself. He wrote, "Never regard something as doing you good if it makes you betray a friend or lose your sense of shame." He understood that the qualities that make you worth knowing are also the qualities that make you a target if they are not protected by equally strong boundaries. The problem is not your empathy. It is empathy without discernment. The problem is not your loyalty. It is loyalty without limits. The problem is not your guilt sensitivity. It is guilt without calibration. The problem is not your potential. It is potential without self-protection. You were not targeted because you are broken. You were targeted because you are genuinely good. And nobody told you how to protect that goodness from people who wanted to consume it. Part 2. The psychology of the toxic person, what they are actually looking for, and why you have it. To understand why you are chosen, you need to understand what the toxic person is trying to solve. Marcus Aurelius wrote something about difficult people that most people read as philosophy, but is actually precise psychology. They are this way because they cannot tell good from evil. He is not making a moral judgment. He is making a diagnostic one. A person who consistently uses others for validation, who manipulates to maintain control, who drains rather than contributes is a person with a fundamental internal deficiency. They cannot generate from within what healthy people generate naturally. There are 3 things every toxic person is trying to obtain externally because they cannot access them internally. The first is a sense of worth. Healthy people have an internal sense of their own value that does not require constant confirmation. A toxic person has a void where that sense should be. They need your attention, your admiration, your dependence on them to temporarily fill it. And because the void cannot be filled from outside, the need is endless. The second is a sense of control. A person with a stable internal world does not need to control the external one. A toxic person experiences their internal chaos as an existential threat and compensates by controlling the people around them. Your compliance makes them feel safe. Your resistance threatens them. The third is a sense of significance. Toxic people, especially narcissistic ones, often have a profound unconscious awareness of their own limitations. Being connected to someone with genuine depth and capability makes them feel significant by proximity. But it also makes them compelled to diminish that person, because the contrast is too threatening to tolerate. Here is the crucial insight Marcus Aurelius reached. A toxic person does not choose you despite your qualities. They choose you because of them and then spend the relationship trying to take what they need while preventing you from becoming fully what you are. Because if you become fully what you are, their inadequacy becomes undeniable. This is not a coincidence. It is a pattern. And recognizing it, seeing it clearly, naming it precisely, is the first step in the Stoic response. Part 3. Why it keeps happening, the pattern Marcus Aurelius identified that most people never see. If you have been in more than one toxic relationship and noticed a similarity between them, you are not imagining it. There is a pattern. And Marcus Aurelius identified its root 2,000 years ago. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." He is pointing at something precise. The way you estimate your own value, your internal story about what you deserve, what you need to earn love, that estimate is what the toxic person reads and responds to. Pattern 1, the rescuer. If you consistently find yourself trying to save, fix, or stabilize someone else, you have likely built an identity around being needed. The toxic person detects this immediately. They present themselves as someone who needs exactly what you offer. And the relationship begins not with genuine connection, but with your rescue instinct activated. Pattern 2, the over-apologizer. If you find yourself apologizing in situations where you are not at fault to keep the peace, to avoid conflict, you have trained the toxic person that blame can always be redirected to you. And they will redirect it. Every time. Pattern 3, the exceptional standards keeper. If you hold yourself to a level of integrity and reliability that you also expect from others, toxic people exploit this deliberately. They know you will not abandon your standards. So they leverage them against you. You said you would always be there. I thought you were different. Pattern 4, the conflict avoider. If the discomfort of confrontation feels worse than the discomfort of an ongoing bad situation, you will stay in bad situations longer than they deserve. The toxic person detects this tolerance early. And they test its limits systematically until they find where your boundary actually is. Then they stay one step inside it permanently. Marcus Aurelius addressed each of these patterns in the Meditations, not as character flaws, but as tendencies that, without Stoic discipline, become vulnerabilities. The rescuer instinct is genuine compassion unguarded. The over-apologizing is genuine conscientiousness misdirected. The high standards are genuine integrity weaponized against you. The conflict avoidance is genuine desire for harmony exploited for tolerance. None of these are weaknesses. They are strengths without armor. And the Stoic solution is not to remove the strength. It is to build the armor. Part 4. The complete Stoic protection system, 6 pillars that keep what makes you valuable while removing what makes you vulnerable. Marcus Aurelius did not become less empathetic over his 20 years on the throne. He did not become less loyal or less committed to genuine connection. He became more discerning about who received those qualities. That distinction between reducing your qualities and protecting them is the entire Stoic system. Pillar 1. Calibrate your empathy. Empathy without discernment is not compassion. It is an open door. The Stoic practice asks one question before investing emotionally in someone's pain: does this person take responsibility for their own suffering, or do they always locate the source outside themselves? A person who consistently externalizes responsibility is not someone your empathy can actually help. It can only be consumed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Aim at growth, not performance of pain." Pillar 2. Attach loyalty to behavior, not to potential. Most people in toxic relationships are loyal to who the person could be, to the potential they glimpsed at the beginning. The Stoic practice: evaluate the person in front of you based exclusively on their consistent behavior over the last 6 months. Not their words. Not their explanations. Not their potential. Their behavior is their character. Everything else is a story. Pillar 3. Recalibrate your guilt response. The Stoic test for guilt is simple: did I violate my own values or someone else's expectations of me? If you violated your values, genuine guilt is appropriate. Act on it. If you violated someone's expectations, that is not guilt. That is pressure being applied by someone who needs your compliance. Learn to distinguish the two. Pillar 4. Build explicit limits before you need them. The toxic person's most effective strategy is the gradual test, small violations of your limits, each designed to find where your actual boundary is. The Stoic response is to decide your limits before they are tested, not in the moment of violation. Marcus Aurelius practiced premeditation of difficulty, deciding in advance how he would respond to foreseeable challenges. When the violation happens, you respond from your decision, not from the moment's confusion. Pillar 5. Develop selective presence. Not everyone who enters your life deserves access to all of you. Selective presence is the recognition that depth is earned, not automatically given. Start every new relationship at a functional level. Let people earn deeper access through consistent, demonstrated trustworthiness over time. Not through how they make you feel in the moment. Through what they consistently do. Pillar 6, make your worth internal and non-negotiable. This is the final and most fundamental pillar. The toxic person can only use your need for external validation as a lever if that need exists. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." A person whose sense of worth is genuinely internal, who does not need approval or confirmation from others to feel valuable, is not targetable in the ways we have described. Not because toxic people stop trying, but because the levers do not connect to anything. Build your worth from your values, not from others' responses to you. That single shift makes you, in the Stoic sense, completely untouchable. Part 5. What Marcus Aurelius did differently, and why it made him impossible to target. Marcus Aurelius was surrounded by some of the most sophisticated toxic people in human history. Roman senators who had spent careers mastering manipulation. Military generals whose loyalty was conditional on political advantage. Advisors whose primary skill was reading power and adjusting their behavior accordingly. In that environment, Marcus Aurelius was consistently described as someone who could not be moved. Not because he was cold or closed, but because he had made his internal world genuinely sovereign. When a senator he had trusted for years revealed he had been spreading misinformation to undermine Marcus Aurelius's authority, his response was documented by his biographers. He did not confront the senator publicly. He did not punish him dramatically. He did not expose him. He simply stopped sharing information with him. No announcement. No explanation. No emotional response that the senator could argue with or use as leverage. He silently reduced access. Completely. And when the senator, confused by the sudden distance, tried to re-establish closeness, Marcus Aurelius received him with full professional courtesy and zero personal warmth. This is the Stoic protection system in action. Not anger. Not revenge. Not explanation. Reclassification. The person who had been in his inner world was quietly moved to a functional category, maintained at the level the situation required, given nothing more. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never regard something as doing you good if it makes you betray a friend or lose your sense of shame." He was protecting something more valuable than the relationship. His integrity. His clarity. His inner world. And he did it without a single word of confrontation. That is the model. Not dramatic exit. Quiet reclassification. Not anger at what they did. Clarity about who they are. Not the hope that they will change. The certainty that you have changed in how much access you give them to your life. Part 6. The gift inside the pattern, what every toxic relationship you have ever had was actually teaching you. Every toxic person who has chosen you has been a precise mirror. Not of your weakness, of your unguarded strength. Every time a toxic person exploited your empathy, they were showing you that your empathy needed discernment. Every time they exploited your loyalty, they were showing you that your loyalty needed limits. Every time they exploited your guilt, they were showing you that your guilt response needed recalibration. Every time they exploited your potential, they were showing you that your potential needed self-protection. Each pattern is a map. And the map leads not to becoming less, but to becoming more complete. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The toxic person is the impediment. But what they reveal, the exact places where your armor is incomplete, that is the way forward. When you see it this way, the question changes. Not, "Why do toxic people choose me?" A question that positions you as a victim of a pattern you cannot control. But, "What has each toxic relationship shown me about where my strength needs armor?" A question that positions you as a student of your own growth. That reframe does not minimize what was done to you. It does not excuse the harm. But it gives the harm a purpose. And purpose, in the Stoic tradition, is the most powerful thing a human being can extract from suffering. Part 6. The gift inside the pattern, what every toxic relationship you have ever had was actually teaching you. Every toxic person who has chosen you has been a precise mirror. Not of your weakness, of your unguarded strength. Every time a toxic person exploited your empathy, they were showing you that your empathy needed discernment. Every time they exploited your loyalty, they were showing you that your loyalty needed limits. Every time they exploited your guilt, they were showing you that your guilt response needed recalibration. Every time they exploited your potential, they were showing you that your potential needed self-protection. Each pattern is a map. And the map leads not to becoming less, but to becoming more complete. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The toxic person is the impediment. But what they reveal, the exact places where your armor is incomplete, that is the way forward. When you see it this way, the question changes. Not, "Why do toxic people choose me?" A question that positions you as a victim of a pattern you cannot control. But, "What has each toxic relationship shown me about where my strength needs armor?" A question that positions you as a student of your own growth. That reframe does not minimize what was done to you. It does not excuse the harm. But it gives the harm a purpose. And purpose, in the Stoic tradition, is the most powerful thing a human being can extract from suffering. The complete Stoic psychology of being chosen. Why toxic people target you, not weakness, but unguarded strength, empathy, loyalty, guilt sensitivity, and potential. What toxic people are actually seeking: worth, control, and significance they cannot generate internally. Why the pattern repeats: 4 tendencies that become vulnerabilities without armor. The 6 pillars: calibrate empathy, attach loyalty to behavior, recalibrate guilt, set explicit limits, selective presence, internal worth. What Marcus Aurelius did differently: quiet reclassification, not dramatic confrontation. The gift inside the pattern: each toxic relationship is a map of where your strength needs armor. The goal: not someone they do not notice, someone they cannot use. You were targeted because you are genuinely good. Now it is time to become genuinely protected. Not smaller, not closed, not less than you are. More complete, more armored, more fully yourself. That is the Stoic answer to the question you have been carrying. Not, "What is wrong with me?" but "What extraordinary things about me have I been leaving unprotected?" Answer that honestly. Then build the armor. Share this with someone who has been asking the wrong question for too long. Subscribe to Memento Sapiens. Every week, ancient wisdom for the life you are actually living. Remember to be wise. Memento Sapiens.